Hello everyone and welcome back to Racing Weekly, a podcast and YouTube show brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. Alongside me for today's show we have Steve Ryder as per usual on my left, and to my right we welcome back Ken Pitterson to the show. Ken, it's been a great week of racing just gone, a great week of racing coming up. Just a brief word to begin with about the overall success of Ascot and seeing the King George with a renewal like the old days.
I think what I remember about Ascot was nothing to do with that, was to do with the people that turned up for the Japanese runner. It was packed with people who want this horse to do well. There was flags, there was so many things out there to advertise Japanese runners. It was really good, and it added something to the day.
Well, prize money will get you. It will certainly attract more horses, and thereby it's really good to see what Ascot are doing, and the fact that prize money is going to go up next year should ensure, well, you can't ensure anything in racing these days, but hopefully good chances of it being as good next year, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. We had a 9-strong field. 7 of those were Group 1 winners. I mean, you had last year's dual Derby winner going off sort of 6,600 to 1, which kind of said it all about it. And it had a bit of everything. You had a Japanese Raider, you had arguably one of the best horses in the world in Kalpana, and then you also had the 3-year-olds. I love this time of the year where you've got the 3-year-olds, the classic generation, going against the older horses. Yeah. We've seen the 3-year-olds dominate the Eclipse. We've now seen a 3-year-old run really well in Benvenuto Cellini, finishing 3rd in a King George, and it sets it up lovely for the Sussex Stakes next week when we see Bo Echo and Stard, see if they can do it against their elders.
Indeed, there's lots of good racing to talk about coming up, but we're starting with good racing that we've just seen in this week's Racing Recap. And of course, the obvious place to start with Racing Recap is the King George at Ascot. What was your initial take as Kalpana crossed the line, Ken, in front of Calandigan, reversing the form from 12 months ago?
I was slightly surprised, I've got to admit, because I thought it was a better race this year than last year. And I thought she ran her race last year and got beaten fair and square. But to be fair to Andrew Borden, myself and Graham Clark were down there in April, and he said to us that she's a different filly this year. He said she carries less weight than she did now, and he reckons he's got her in a good place, and he proved it with a great performance. I mean, she travelled really well. I like the way where Colin Keane hung on to her for a little bit longer than last year, and when he kicked, it was a decisive one. And as long as Calandigan tried to close the gap, he wasn't getting there. So it was a great run by her. Calandigan, I thought, ran his race, even though some people said, oh, well, it was a week later than, sooner than he did last year when he ran in the race in France. I didn't see anything to say that was the case. And Benjamin Cellini, he stepped up. I thought that was his best run to date myself.
There's loads out of the race to talk about. I mean, Ken referred to the ride Colin Keane gave her. I thought that was the key for me, holding on to as long as possible. But what was interesting, I thought, about that manoeuvre was that Benvenuto Cellini actually came up alongside her already coming off the bridle, and she had to manoeuvre out, and she then showed a turn of foot. That was the most impressive element, I thought. Yeah,
they've tried her over 10 furlongs previously, over in the Pretty Polly last year, and she's just brilliant at Ascot, isn't she? She's only, I mean, this was her 3rd win at Ascot from 6 starts, but she's so consistent. She's placed in all those other ones. I thought she might struggle on the ground, to be honest. She only finished 2nd in the Hardwick. What could Giovanotto have done if he was in the race, I suppose? But similarly to previous years, Kalpana has progressed through the whole season, and that probably was the winning of it, progressing from that run in the Hardwick Stakes to win this. But it was a really interesting race to dissect. Obviously, Ballydoyle wanted to make it a stamina test for their horses. You had Lambourne and Action making the pace. I suppose in hindsight, Mini Hawk probably sat too close
I can't understand why she sat as close as she did. Maybe she did too much in Wayne Lawton's hands, but she actually ended up, she was just behind Lambourne, ended up going inside him, turning in the straight. I thought either too aggressive or did too much. Definitely not her running. Yeah,
and given how she's ran, you can probably upgrade the run of Lambourne in 4th as well. You need to look back. Everyone says that he's been disappointing, but he did beat Bay City Roller on his comeback at Chester. Yes, I know he was in receipt of weight that day, but I wouldn't forget about him in some of these mile-and-a-half contests further down the line. But it's going to be interesting to see where the top 3 go after this, because Kalpana was brilliant.
Don't you think Lambourne might go at Irish St Leger? Possibly.
But Ryan Moore got off last year and said, I don't actually think he wants a trip further than a mile and a half. It's interesting, isn't it?
Be nice to see him just given a normal ride.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know the ability is still there. I mean, he ran a great race given how hard he went to start with. So, yeah, I'll agree with Steve. Maybe there's a race in France for him.
Yeah, quite possibly. But you look at what Kalpana did last year. She went to the September Stakes and then went to the Arc. Whether Enable, when she used to win this, used to go for the Yorkshire Oaks. Whether they then go, I don't see any reason why a mile and a half at York wouldn't be up her street as well. So they've got loads of options. They're obviously going to target the Arc. Champions Day for that filly of mares that she could win for a third time would be an obvious target as well. Calandagan can't run in the Arc this year, maybe next. But he's then going to come Champions Stakes, Japan Cup, isn't he? But the most interesting horse, I think, going forward is Benvenuto Cellini and what they do with him, because they do think he's a mile and a half horse, but he's also really quite ground dependent. And whether they chance their arm at something like the Irish Champion Stakes over 10, he's got the entry in that. I suppose it's all going to come down to how Constitution River runs in the Juddmonte International onto whether they do that. But the Breeders' Cup turf later in the season is the obvious target. But they're going to need to run him before then, and I wouldn't be against him trying 10 furlongs.
Yeah, I think the Breeders' Cup turf is the race for him. You look at the horses that are ahead of him in the Arc market, they all look like they're targeting that race. So for the Arc, with Bet365, Darragh is a 7-2 favourite, Constitution River 8-1, Maltese Cross 10s, Kalpana 12s, Diamond Necklace 14s, Thundering on 14s, Benvenuto Cellini 16s, Estrange 16s, Bay City Roller 20s, along with Beirana and Mini Hawk. If you had to pick an Arc winner now,
Constitution River.
Constitution River, 8-1 for the Arc. Why?
I said from last year, I thought he was the best 2-year-old I'd seen going into the season. He's proven, for me, I think he's the best 3-year-old. I think he's just got everything. He's got speed, stamina, and he's got quality.
Okay, definitely a mile and a half horse?
He'll get a mile and a half stand on his head.
Mile and a half standing on the head. Your Arc winner at this stage?
Copy and paste, but for exactly the same reasons, but with Diamond Necklace. I think she is the best 3-year-old. I know she didn't win by far last time. There were reports that she might have shown things about being in season, which probably means that you can upgrade what she did last time. But I'm really excited to see her in the Nassau Stakes this week, and I think she'd also be one that will be able to get a mile and a half.
So basically we're saying there's no Brian's going to win the Arc.
How boring are we?
If it was soft ground, would you be concerned at all for Constitution River in the Arc?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think, I've only seen him a couple of times, but his action didn't suggest he wants quick ground, or I think I think he can handle either turf. I don't think that'd be a problem.
All right. No excuses for anything else? I mean, I know I touched on Mini Hawk because I was a bit disappointed with her effort, but I think there were excuses for her, the way the race developed and she did. Anything else in the race that you think?
Masquerade Ball probably balled over beforehand and already ran his race. I just hope that doesn't deter the Japanese raiders from coming over in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in the pre-preg ring, they both got really agitated and were warm and sweating and jogging around, and I was just hoping they could just hold it together, which wasn't the case. But just the atmosphere and the people that were around to see the Japanese runner, it was an eye-opener for everybody.
Well, I'll go back to what we said, just to reiterate the point. I think Ascot's plan and project over the last few years to build the King George back up. Remember, Adayar won the race a few years ago, so first 3-year-old in ages to win the race, etc. First Derby winner to win the race. They're talking about the race coming back to what it was when we were getting 3 or 4 runners. You know, it was a thin race over the years.
Definitely.
This is hopefully something that will re-establish it as the midsummer showpiece, which is what it was when, you know, I was a kid. And
I mean, hopefully they can build on this year and get even a better feel for next year. But the thing is, it's the psyche of the trainers, because everybody thinks if you run in the King George, you can't win an Arc. That was part of the reason why we had so many bad King Georges recently. But Enable's proven that can happen. So hopefully this year will prove that we can win a King George and go and win an Arc.
Maybe Kalpana might do it 12-1. Yeah, if you don't agree with Constitution River, Diamond Necklace, or the fact that I backed Estrange for the Arc earlier in the season. So, okay, let's talk about some other good races that took place at Ascot. It was a great day for Safi Osborne. 3 winners, and Amazing Journey won the Moet and Shandon. How good was Amazing Journey, considering in fact he was still running about in the closing stages? What a CV he's putting together. Yeah,
now won his previous 2 at Ascot, obviously won over 6 furlongs, staying on strongly last time. That then meant that they tried this 7 furlong trip Whether that running about, drifting left towards the finish was stamina, and whether actually a drop back down to 6 furlongs would suit. But it was a good performance. Was somewhat entitled to do it. It was £5 well in at the weights under a £3 penalty given the conditions of the race. I thought slightly inconvenienced Extremely Zane late on, but I didn't have any excuses for him. He was beaten at the time. It probably cost him either second or third, but he wouldn't have beaten the winner. And I actually thought the race went perfectly for Extremely Zane. Got cover, he settled, and then it opened up, and he just wasn't quite good enough to go through with that effort. Maybe he isn't a group horse in a handicap, but the interesting thing this week, and obviously we're recording on Monday ahead of having confirmation through for the likes of the Stewards' Cup, is that the first and the second do have entries for the Stewards' Cup. Obviously, Two Tribes himself, that was the runner-up this year, won that race and dropped back down in trip to win the Stewards' Cup. And whether they then back up again quickly with Amazing Journey would be a question mark.
Two Tribes 10-1 with Bet365 and Amazing Journey 12s. What did you think of the Moet and Chandon?
Yeah, good competitive race. I mean, Extremely Zane looks like a group horse, without doubt. I just thought it was a little bit keen in Tom's hands to start with. I didn't think Tom had totally relaxed as he wanted him. So I thought he ran well, considering he's a 3-year-old against much tougher opponents. I wouldn't discount the horse yet, because William Haggis doesn't say they're going on about he was a group horse before he ran at York. Yeah. They don't throw those things around lightly. So he looks the part. Maybe not this year, but I think he'll hit those heights probably next year or later on.
Can I ask you both about your opinion on Safi Osborne's riding? Of course, we're talking off the back of the fact she's won 3 races, so I know on the same day. So I know that's perhaps colouring the prospect of what we might say. But her riding as a whole this season, what's your view on whether you think she's improved? Is she establishing herself as one of the leading riders?
She's definitely improved, but the fact that she was getting rides for Sir Michael Stoute towards the end of his training career just says, I mean, he doesn't jock up people that haven't got ability on horses. So
100% right. Best thing he said today.
And the fact that trainers are going to her for outside rides, I know it didn't quite work out with Tulane and Owen Burrows, but she is now a go-to jockey in those big races on days like today when you've got certain riders having to ride at York for retainers.
I've got to say, her agent, I mean, Boney.
Superb.
I know Boney, and he gets you in the right places, ride out for the right people, and there's the show. Now he's proven what she can do. Yeah. I mean, she's riding for good trainers, and she's winning big races.
He is a terrific agent. I hope he's listening to this, so he knows that we think highly of him. Let's speak about some of the other races at Ascot. The Princess Margaret. Moonrise is putting together a good profile herself. Dee's Funny Girl, I thought was a little bit unlucky the way the race panned out. 1 right, 1 left. But what was your view of the race?
I don't think it was a very good renewal myself. Full credit to Moonrise for coming out on top. She was a little bit a handful being saddled. I mean, she was kicking down the stable behind me. She was a bit of a handful, but a really good performance. Dee's Funny Girl probably came back and was a bit far off the pace coming through. I mean, Ryan was trying to make up his ground, but he was running out of real estate, basically. So I thought he ran well. I just don't think it was a really good renewal, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I do like the runner-up. I think she could be quite useful, maybe even stepping up in trip over time. What did you think of it, Steve?
Yeah, she was the interesting one for me. I know it was a brilliant day for Andrew Balding, wasn't it? Obviously won the King George, the York Stakes and this race. She had ran well previously, obviously was 66-1 the day that she finished second in the Windsor Castle. But yeah, Dee's Funny Girl would be the horse that I'd want to take out of it. Obviously this was first run for Donna O'Brien. She was bought at one of those Royal Ascot sales in the colours of Porta Fortuna and Ballantina for Medallion Racing. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Donica does with her going forward. I imagine we'll get a chance to test this form in the likes of the Lowther and the Chiefly Park later on in the season, because we have got a good bunch, the likes of Libertango that came from Newmarket last time, Senorita Bonita. So if Ken is lukewarm on this form, I imagine Moonrise, given her profile, will be quite a short price next time. So you'll probably get a better price from fillies from other races as a result.
The Valiant Stakes. Now, lots of chat about this race and what happened to Tulane, obviously already alluded to by Steve. Kontiki won, and a lot of people pointed to an excellent ride from Ryan Moore. What was your view of Kontiki's success?
Yeah, I just thought Ryan Moore just showed why he's the best jockey in the world, to be honest. It was really interesting because drawn in stall 2, pace coming across in front, and it was the manoeuvre when Ryan Moore went left to sit on the shoulder, and that just forced Tulane to be a little bit too wide, a little bit too keen, and then as a result was in a position that William Buick didn't want to be. Now, as a result, Tulane hung right-handed. William Buick reported afterwards that she didn't handle the fast ground. Well, she did at Royal Ascot in the Coronation Stakes. Maybe horses go on that sort of ground once and then feel it for a second time. I thought this was her day. This was her first group success. It's job done, really, for her going forward. Ken was lukewarm on the form of the Princess Margaret. I'd be similarly lukewarm on the form of this going forward.
Obviously slightly different in how the Eclipse unfolded last year, but if you remember when they came out the gates and Ombudsman and Delacroix, Ryan Moore took the spot that Ombudsman, I think, had eyed up, and I think he did something similar with William Buick here on the winner, Kontiki.
He did, but if you watch the Irish Derby, Rossaran jumps out on Rahib, and Rosser goes right and Ryan goes inside him and cuts. I mean, he's just so aware of what is happening in a race, and that was a prime example. He saw there's a little gap between Tulane, and he went straight in and pushed Tulane 3 wide, and that was her job, her race over. Really.
So you think Tuline's position through the run into the straight? I think to me she didn't really pick up that well anyway.
Being 3 wide is not easy at Ascot.
No.
We know that it's really difficult with the short straight. I know Owen Buzz was very disappointed because he did think this was a good opportunity for her, but it didn't happen for her. She's just a filly that seems to things are not going her way, but hopefully one will come her way. But yeah, it was disappointing. But being 3 wide didn't help her.
Okay, and as for Kontiki,
a good performance. I mean, that was her best performance to date. Good ride by Ryan. How strong the race is, I'm a bit like Steve. I don't think it's that strong a form myself.
All right, I'll stay with you with those 2 questions. How strong a race, and what did you think of the form and the performance of Item in the York Stakes? I mean, a horse who won the Dante, was well fancied for the Derby. Lots of horses with excuses on Derby Day. But this is quite an exciting youngster.
Well, if you believe it or not, Rish, last year I gave you 2 horses and he was one of them. I mean, he looks a good horse and he proved it that day. He's a 10 furlong horse at the moment, but that was a good effort to win that race because when you watch the race in the straight, I thought, oh, he's just coming under pressure. Yeah. But he found, and I love the way he hit the line strong. I mean, yeah, he's a progressive 3-year-old. I think you've got to go for the judgment on the back of that, really. I mean, he's owned by the sponsors. I can see him going there. To beat, he looks like he's got a good York record now. He's 2 from 2 at York. Yeah. The same with Pride of Aris. So I thought it was a really good effort. I think he's an improving 3-year-old and capped a great weekend for Andrew Borden.
I mean, if I was being entirely honest about the race, he was the one horse in it going, and you just thought, well, there are less question marks about him because he only put up that one disappointing round with excuses, horrible ground. But there were question marks about some of the others. I mean, obviously, Pride of Aris has had 1 or 2 issues, although he's not bad at York. Royal Champion was coming back after a layoff, or obviously ran in April in Bahrain, but he hadn't run since. And was giving weight away. You know, Demisis hasn't really delivered this season, has he? After that first run, so there were question marks to answer. Do you believe in the form, the strength of it?
Yeah, I do. I thought it was a really strong renewal of the race. They're all arguably Group 1 horses that were stepping down in grade into a Group 2. There hadn't been a 3-year-old winner of the race since 2006. Best Alibi. 16 had tried. 3 were beaten at odds of 5-4 or less. So it was against him as a 3-year-old, but I thought he was brilliant. I thought the drop back to 10 furlongs is what he wanted. Fast ground definitely is what he wants. He's got a proper fast ground action, and I was really impressed with this. When I previewed the race, the issue was going to be where the pace was going to come from, and I thought Ross Orion did the right thing in going forward on Pride of Aris, who obviously won the Voltige last year over 1.5 miles. Didn't go stupid fractions, went an even pace. I was slightly disappointed Demisis and Dancing Gemini didn't settle. But then Demisis, having been keen in the early stages, actually ran on quite well at the end, shaping like 10 furlongs is what he wants. Maybe a first-time hood next time to try and get him to settle in the early stages. It might just mean that his finishing effort over 10 might then go forward. But looking at the last 4 winners of the race, they've gone for either the Juddmonte International or the Irish Champion Stakes. Like Ken says, you've got a horse that's owned by Juddmonte. I'm sure is going to head to the Juddmonte International next. Given the ground, given the trip, given the form of that race, I think he's going to go there with a good chance. But you are going up against Ombudsman and Constitution River, who are top top class individuals.
Yeah, I'll just throw the prices for the Juddmonte International at you both. Ombudsman is even money with Bet365, Constitution River 2-1, Calandagan 6s, Item 10s, Benvenuto Cellini 12s, Almacum 14s, Diamond Necklace 14s, A Boy Named Susie 16s, More Thunder 16s, Ofra Ballo's also 16s, and a few others at bigger prices. Have you got a view on the Juddmonte? Is it Ombudsman? Is it Constitution River?
He's too short at evens. He's way too short at evens. If that field turned up, he's way too short at evens.
Okay. Constitution River.
I'm not. I won't change my hat now.
Okay. What about you?
I would be in agreement. Yeah, Constitution River. I think it is something quite special. But what a brilliant race! If I imagine Calandagan won't go, but if the other three can, it's going to be a brilliant race.
I thought you both might shoot me down. I thought Royal Champion ran all right because he was travelling best of all.
He stopped very quickly, didn't he?
Did
whether that was fitness, but he's come back off.
And he was giving a lot of weight away as well. I mean, and it was first run since that. And I suspect, looking at the market, that he wasn't, because he was easy to back.
Yeah, I backed him, and up to 2 furlongs out, I was very happy with how the race was going. And then
I thought,
stopped
looking at the market, that he's going to need it, because I backed him as well, and obviously he drifted. I know I backed him, but I thought I wouldn't be surprised if he ran an all right race in something like the Juddmonte. He's got a lot of ability. I know he's an old horse, but when he gets fast ground of a decent pace over 10 furlongs, he's not that bad.
Yeah, well, he went Irish Champion Stakes last year, didn't he? And bumped into Delacroix, but. Yeah. Whether connections will look at the Juddmonte International and go, I think we might head over to Ireland instead. That might be a better one.
It was Hong Kong he ran. I was talking about. He went behind Romantic Warrior earlier. So he's Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. He's 50-1 for the Juddmonte International at Bet365. Before we talk about some other races, I just wanted to touch on Andrew Balding as well, because Aidan O'Brien's obviously been dominating the season, but Andrew Balding has thrown his hat in the ring now to maybe at least make it a contest for the champion trainers title. Although beyond that, it's more the case of he obviously has established himself at the top level for a very long time. But I've never seen him tearful, apart from when he won the Oaks with Casual Look and he and Claire cried and all that sort of stuff. But I haven't seen much of the emotion from him, but it was Saturday, definitely saw that coming off the back of...
Well, he's passing of his dad, Milvey, for winning the race. He's won the race. I think all that emotion came to a head. But no, he's established himself as one of the best trainers in the country. But it's funny because when we were there in April, I said to him, God, Andrew, you won £7 million in prize money last year and you wasn't even champion trainer. And he turned to me and goes, that shows what I'm up against. So, yeah, he's having a great season and he could be champion trainer, but like he said, I'm up against Aidan O'Brien. He can't take anything for granted. But yeah, he's just a trainer that is getting really good horses and getting good results, and that's all you want from a trainer.
He's the Dan Skelton of the flat season, isn't he? But I think it's worth just mentioning him in part. You know, it's been a fabulous week for him, fabulous day for him, and it's possible he could have a Millreef-esque. Not obviously she didn't win a classic this season, but King George Arc winner.
Yeah, quite possibly. He's got genuine Group 1 horses that he can go to war with against Aidan O'Brien. And the good thing about himself and Juddmonte, there's always a plan for every horse, and they aren't afraid to tilt at windmills as well. Given how he sort of trained Blue Bolt earlier on in the season as well, it just kind of shows they wanted to head to Royal Ascot without a penalty. They won that race. They then went and beat Precise, who was well fancied in the Falmouth Stakes last time. Every horse has a plan, and it's just executing that plan.
And of course, last week, people were saying Aidan's horses were running below par. When we talk about other races from the week just gone, I was disappointed by Aix-la-Chapelle, for example. But again, he drifted alarmingly before the off. What else would you like to mention?
There's something about that horse, because I was there when he got saddled, and he played up really badly. At Ascot, sorry. And he reared up, came out, put him in the saddle, then he reared up again down. He's obviously got some sort of an issue, which hopefully they'll straighten out. But look, if you train as many horses as Aidan O'Brien, you're going to have a time when not everything fires. And that week, nothing fired. It was just one of those things. Well, it happens. But I wouldn't say that they're out of form, as we know.
Yeah. I mean, Alpha just scrambled home.
Well, I saw her make her debut, and I've got to say, Rishi, I've not seen a bigger filly in my life. She's enormous, right? And she won the first race, and I went to Aidan, how big is she? And he goes, she's 540 kilos.
Wow.
He goes, I haven't got colts as big as this.
Yeah.
Right? And then she won the other day, and it wasn't a great performance. Yeah. But she's 550 kilos.
Right.
Right? So he said she's getting bigger and stronger, but with bigger and stronger, she's getting weaker as well because she's growing. So she's good. I think she is very good. Yeah. I mean, you can tell when Ryan rides a good one, he smiles on his face, and he smiled all the way in at the car when she won. I think she's good. I think we'll see the best of her probably later on the season or even next year, but she's big.
Okay. She's big, and she's obviously very talented, but only scrambled home. What else would you like to mention from the week just gone?
I was impressed with Like a Lot, who won at York. I thought she was very impressive for Rafe Beckett. Travelled really well. I loved the way she skipped clear without minimum effort, hit the line really strong. I mean, she's got to be going up in grade, so interesting to see where they go with her. Aperol of Richard Hannon's won the Star Stakes.
Yeah. He says that's a Guineas filly.
I think she is, but the reason I think she is a good filly, but I don't think she wants to make the running.
Right.
She's been out in front. When she won at Newbury, she came from behind, good turn of foot, won. Then she got slightly worked up when the horse next to her played up at Royal Ascot and ran out in front. The same thing at Sandown. I think she's better coming from off the pace myself and having using her turn of foot. But she's a progressive type. I do like her. So yeah, those were two I was really taken by last week.
Okay. Steve, what else from the past week would you like to mention?
Yeah, just touching on Like a Lot, I imagine the Galtres Stakes at York would be the obvious thing back over that course and distance. I was really impressed with her. Won by 7.5 lengths, I think. Was definitely needs to go up in grade. I think that was off 92. I imagine she'll be rated in the hundreds tomorrow when the ratings come out. Just touching on Alpha, it's going to be interesting because normally if a horse has won that Silver Flash, there'll be the obvious route of Moy Glare and Debutante and possibly Filly's Mile towards the end of the year. But so it's interesting what Ken says around week. You look at Alpha Centauri as well, like progressed the next year, whether they just try and mind her and go against what they normally do with these fillies. It's going to be interesting to see how she's campaigned. But I saw bookmakers pushed her out for the 1,000 guineas off the back of that scrambling home, and I wouldn't have done that if I was there.
She's 9-1 for the 1,000 guineas and 9-1 for the Oaks with Bet365. I mean, immediately after she won at the Curragh, I thought, this is an Oaks filly. You know, she looks like a strong stayer. She's got the pedigree that would suggest she'll get the trip. I haven't seen anything else come out that we've still got. We're in July.
Yeah.
But she's been the most impressive classic filly, I think, for that race. Anything else, or is that it for the week?
No, that was it.
I'll just mention one other in defeat, but I still think Pina Sonata is a good horse. She obviously did way too much in that Valiant Stakes, and Danny Muscat was forced to go forward. But I'm sure James Fanshawe, I'm going to rely on him. You know, it's the Sir Michael Stout bloodline running through him, so there's going to be a race for her at some point. But that's it for this week's Racing Recap. Now, before we get into our Goodwood preview, just to let you know that our sponsor Bet365 have a best odds guaranteed offer. It's available on every single UK and Irish race from 8 a.m. on the day of the race. If you take a price and the SP is bigger, Bet365 will pay you at the bigger odds, and full T's and C's can be found on the website. And so to Goodwood we go. Glorious Goodwood for many of us, as we call it. It's changed its name. Yeah, well, the older ones. The Qatar Goodwood Festival, or however you want to call it, but for me it'll always be Glorious Goodwood. And we start obviously on Tuesday with the Goodwood Cup. So I'm just going to get the market up for that with Bet365, and obviously Scandinavia and Trawlerman at the top of it. Scandinavia's 10-11, Trawlerman 2-1, Rahib 10s, Amelot 14s, Lazy Griff 14s and 28s, bar those. Ken, you can open the batting on this one. Scandinavia to see off Trawlerman, even though Trawlerman's now had a run.
Yeah, look, I was impressed by Scandinavia. He's done the right thing so far. I mean, he won the Gold Cup as a 3-year-old, which is a rare thing to do anyway. Love the way he won the Gold Cup. Good performance by both of them. I mean, it was a real proper race from 1.5 out. They really went to war all the way to line. It was a great race between the two of them. Looking him up the day, I thought Trawlerman would come on for the run because it was his first start, so he will improve. But I like the way Scandinavia did it, and he's a younger horse. And one thing I learnt from someone when I was very young, always go with the younger horse. He's open to more improvement. A bit like me and you batting Rishi. You go for me because I'm younger. So yeah, always go for the younger horse.
10 years. I've got 10 years on you. No?
I know you have.
So the younger one, you're going with Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Can you see any case for Trawlerman overturning the form at Goodwood?
If you're backing Trawlerman, you're hoping that he's come on for that first run of the season. Scandinavia had the standard Aidan O'Brien prep, didn't he, coming into it, Saddlebeg and heading into there. So he had 2 runs before the Gold Cup. Trawlerman was going there after 243 days off the track, and obviously will come on for that run. But Scandinavia is now 6 from 6 since the application of cheap pieces. Won this race last year, beating stablemate Illinois, who was arguably better fancied that day. Beat Rahabe by a neck in the St Andrew. I think you'll see a better Rahabe in this race, back down in trip. I raised the question mark that I didn't think 2.5 miles that in the Gold Cup would suit him. So I think you'll see a better performance from him in this race. Trawlerman's interesting. He's done it at a range of tracks, but I do think he probably is better at Ascot. He did win at Goodwood previously. He won a handicap here in July 2022. But I can't oppose Scandinavia. He's just one of those horses that never wins by far. Those cheap pieces are on for a reason, but I think he could dominate this division for years to come.
Yeah. What about Lazy Griff? Because of the horses here, we still don't know what he's capable of at this trip. Even the race last time at Sandown was a bit of a... I know he won, but small field and he sort of got his own way in front.
I think he's a horse that's open to improvement because he's very lightly raced. My slight doubt, just if he wants fast ground, because even Charlie Johnson said at Sandown, I don't want to race him on fast ground too many times because I don't think he wants to sour the horse by wanting him on fast ground. But Goodwood and the Johnsons are synonymous, so we know he's going to run. He could run well because I think this is his trip, 2 miles. Or 1.6 miles, that's his range. I don't think he'll stay further. Yeah. And he's open to improvement. I mean, he ran in the Derby, so I think he's got the class to run well here.
Okay. You see a case for him or anything else at a bigger price?
Yeah, I just find the most interesting thing about it is first time cheap pieces go on. And I always find headgear going on when a horse has won a race really interesting. So it was Billy that rode him last time, wasn't it? I think obviously got off and said, he's not really doing a tap in front.
But if you watch him go around the first circuit going past the Label Bend, he did kind of look... Yeah. And kind of go that way, so I can see why they put...
I mean, he's not going to have to make the running, is he?
No.
You'd imagine Trawlerman's going to make the running and he can then settle in behind, force him so Trawlerman doesn't get an easy lead. So tactically this will be fascinating, but I imagine you'll see Ryan Moore at his brilliant best once again.
And are you positive, like Steve is, that we'll see a better Rahabe this time than we saw at Ascot? He ran out of puff 2 furlongs out.
Yeah, I think so. He didn't settle. He didn't flow like he can do for me. I mean, he's a horse that gets into a rhythm and goes well. I never thought that was the case at Ascot. If you do it good was a different matter because you are twisting and turning, but just never felt he was settled at Ascot. And interesting, Rishi, since 1986, only 10 horses have done the double. Win the Ascot Gold Cup and one gone on to win the Goodwood Cup.
Okay. Well, Aidan O'Brien trained a few of those?
Yes, Kripios, Yates, they were 2.
Okay. Well, he might train another one. Scandinavia all round, I think, in the Goodwood Cup. Also on Tuesday, the Lennox Stakes. Lake Forest is the 10 to 11 favourite with Bet365. The Sussex Stakes winner from last year, Kirat 9 to 2, Marvel Man 11 to 2, Witness Stand 15 to 2, Hunt Cup winner Rogue Diplomat in there at 12s and 25 to 1 bar. Lake Forest, you remember the race last year? Obviously, Witness Stand won it. Lake Forest and who was it? Quinault and something else. They were going off 100 miles an hour, and Lake Forest was the one horse to make up a bit of ground. But after the run at Ascot, I can see why he's at the top of the market.
Yeah, the most interesting thing about this race is the fact that both Kirat and Lake Forest have been declared for the Sussex Stakes on Wednesday, which is really interesting. So whether they're both going to take their chance. Obviously, the Sussex Stakes is going to be a stronger renewal than what they are.
Certainly be happy if they both miss the race.
I'm sure you will. But yeah, Lake Forest definitely sets the standard. He's rated 119. He's rated £4 higher than Marvel Man, £6 higher than Kirat, and obviously this is off level weights in this. But I like Witness Stand. I know it was a weird race last year, and it did go strangely.
Yeah.
But the form of his runs this year have worked out. He finished second at Epsom behind 10 Bob Tony. 10 Bob Tony went on to win the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot. And just everything went wrong at Chester last time. He was slowly away and as a result was caught wide. I'd just completely write that off. If he was coming here off the back of that Epsom run, he'd be half the price. And I think you've got a valid excuse of why that didn't go. You know that he's going to handle Goodwood. And I think he's probably the each-way alternative against Lake Forest at the top of the market. But what about Rogue Diplomat, Rish? Definitely worth taking his chance in this. We've got a revised rating of 104. 7 furlongs, is that his trip? I mean, his 4 wins last year came over the trip, and his 4 runs this year have all been over a mile. So
it's a good. I mean, they've the team, as often described by so many people.
You're not described as the lads yet.
No, not the lads. I don't think
He's working his way up to that.
I don't think we qualify. You know, lad sounds young, doesn't it? But it's he's also in the race on Friday, the Golden Mile. But this looked to be a good opportunity with the likes of a few horses going for the Sussex Stakes, etc. I think Flora of Bermuda, who was also in this, she's going for the Fillies race at the Oak Tree.
Yeah.
And I think stall 8 was a little bit of an annoyance because it'd be nice to get, because there's plenty. I mean, there's plenty of pace in this race, isn't there? Or potentially plenty of pace with Kirat, Witness Stand, all like to go forward. I mean, I think he'll run well. I'm sure he'll run well because he's rarely run a bad. The only disappointment he's run has been the one in France when he obviously had to travel over and the ground wasn't quite right for him. So I'm sure he'll run with credit, but it's a serious step up in grade for him. I think he can get in the places. Okay. I do agree with you though on Witness Stand. Of the horses at the top of the market, I prefer to be with him than Lake Forest. He's 2 from 3 at Goodwood, and I'm with you on the Chester run. I mean, he was 5 wide at one point at Chester, so just put a line through that, and you go back to the Epsom run. He's not far off of being close to the top here. So I get Lake Forest, but I prefer to be. I didn't think Lake Forest finished the race off that well last year, even though I thought he was.
I'm not a fan of Lake Forest. I mean,
okay.
The Haydock run he won wasn't much. Okay, he ran well behind. He ran 6 furlongs against Almerac. I think the horse to be was Kirat. I think he's unbeaten at Goodwood. Yeah. You know what he did last year, beating Rosalian, so we won't go into that. But yeah, I just think he loves Goodwood. I thought he got an excellent ride from Sylvester at York last time.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, that really gave him a boost. I think the horse goes there full of confidence. He loves Goodwood. I think he's got a great chance of winning this.
Okay, so we've Kirat, Witness Stand.
So basically, we're laying Lake Forest.
Okay, so yeah, we're laying Lake Forest and hoping Rogue Diplomat runs third, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can believe that.
I'd take third. Yeah, each way money and decent prize money. Okay, so that's the Lennox Stakes. Let's talk about the big race on Wednesday because that is one of the best races. Now, I wonder if I've got the market. Yes, we do. I have got it at the moment. Bo Echo's 5-4 favourite for the Sussex Stakes with Bet365 as I'm speaking to you. Opera Ballo is 130. Stade is 7-2. Lake Forest, obviously, 16s. 10 Bob Tony, 16s. Zavatiri, 20s. Never So Brave, 33s. 50s, Docklands. Steve, what do you like here?
This is an absolute belter.
Yeah.
Obviously, I imagine Kirat and Lake Forest won't run unless they don't go into the stalls or something on the Tuesday. But it's still a brilliant renewal. It's Bo Echo versus Stade, round 3. I was fairly strong putting Stade as my best bet of the whole of Royal Ascot in the St James's Palace Stakes. But if I'm honest, looking back at that and at the time, I think he was beaten fair and square. I thought everything that could have gone wrong for Bo Echo did go wrong, and he still managed to win. And arguably, this swap in track to Goodwood from Ascot will suit Bo Echo, the pacier Bo Echo, than Stade as well. Opera Ballo is the likely pace angle here, so you'd imagine, given how he ran at Royal Ascot in the Queen Anne, he's going to try and make the run in. It won't be a crawl. I think it's going to be fairly easy for Billy to be able to sit in behind, ride him like the best horse in the race, swing wide and go. I'll quickly check in a second which stall is drawn in, but as long as he's not drawn in stall 1, I don't think that would be a concern. And yeah, I just think Bo Echo will prove that the 3-year-olds can beat the older horses and that he is a better horse than Stard.
Okay. Ken?
I agree with Steve. I mean, I thought Ascot would suit Stard better than Bo Echo. The draw, pull up to the winning post, where this time round the pacier, easier mile, I think is right up Bo Echo's street. I think he's more pacier. And when I saw him at the Guineas, he didn't do much to me. When I saw him again at Ascot, you could see where he's definitely putting on more bulk and getting better. So I presume I'll see a different horse again going into Goodwood on Wednesday. I think he's winning. I think he's just got more pace than them. Opera Ballet, I don't know what to make of that Queen Anne. I mean, it was a bit of a farce of a race, I thought. He was meant to lead. Ryan led on the other one, wide apart. It was just a mess of a race, really. But I think he's going to find it hard to be a classic winner myself.
Okay. I'm going to back him, actually. Opera Ballet. I think the track would suit him.
Yeah.
He's unbeaten on turning tracks. His only defeats have obviously come on Ascot and Newmarket. And I like the way he quickened up from the front and had them a furlong and a half out. He had everything in trouble, and then he's emptied out in the last half a furlong, and he's got done by 10 Bob Tony and More Thunder. So I'm happy to because of the configuration of the track, and he's 130 against a 5-4 horse. Right. I just prefer to take a chance on him. I think Bo Echo's outstanding 3-year-old. I think he's got loads of ability, but I'm just taking a flyer on Opera Ballo in the race. So that's my view. Zavatiri?
Yeah, he's interesting. I do think Opera Ballo is a bigger danger to Bo Echo than what Stard is. And a lot of people will think that Stard, because he got closer from the Guineas run to the St James's Palace, will be a bigger one. But Stard's drawn in stall 1, Bo Echo's drawn in stall 4, Puerto Rico's drawn in stall 10.
Okay.
So if he's going to adopt pacemaking tactics again, he's going to have to do a lot of early work to come over.
Opera Ballo?
Opera Ballo's fine. He's in stall 3.
Oh, lovely.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they ride Puerto Rico with regards to Opera Ballo and whether Opera Ballo can settle in behind.
Yeah.
Zavatiri, I thought his comeback was okay, but in hindsight, it's not worked out great, has it? Al Parslan beat him by a length that day. Albert Einstein was obviously the big talking horse, was in 3rd. Needle Match was in 4th. It hasn't worked out as well as we first thought.
The
green and run, no, but the 2-year-old form is at 20-1. Might be an argument. That was
massive ask though to come back from that length to take on these horses at the top of their game. So I think he's got a lot to do myself.
Okay, so that's the Sussex Stakes on Wednesday. The Nassau, I haven't got a market for the Nassau at the moment, but it appears that this looks a good opportunity for Diamond Necklace, who I know you like. I'll let you start on this then, Steve. She's been a sensational filly so far, with promise of more to come.
Yeah, I think she's absolutely brilliant. She's unbeaten in her 5 career starts. Previous 3 have all come in Group 1 company in France. Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore have combined to win the last 2 renewals of this with Opera Singer and Whirl. You also go back to 2016 and 2017. They won it with 3-year-olds Minding and Winter. I think she's of the similar sort of mould. Lady Bowthorpe was the last 5-year-old to win this race in 2021. That age group are represented by both See the Fire and Friendly Soul. Both of those were beaten at Royal Ascot when last seen. Diamond Necklace has won her 2 starts so far this season. I just think this is going to be fairly simple for Diamond Necklace going forward.
Agree? A simple task for Diamond Necklace?
I thought she was the best 2-year-old I saw last year, filly-wise. I just loved her when I saw her. I thought she had a lot of quality, a lot of class, and she's done nothing to put me off her. I think she's classy. Aidan thinks the world of her. She's done one in France, comes here. I don't see the opposition being that strong, really. I don't think they're Group 1 fillies against her. That's the thing. See the Fire's been beaten in Group 1s. Friendly Soul, she's an admirable filly. But yeah, I think the favourite will just win this and win it quite comfortably myself.
Okay. I thought Friendly Soul would be the biggest danger to her.
Yeah.
The Ascot race was obviously a mess, and she's the Haydock Hole horse, thankfully. She was all right. And obviously the run where she was very unlucky at Ascot, Blue Bolt, and Kontiki
that form is strong enough.
in and around her. So I thought the form is good enough for her to run well, but I do respect Diamond Necklace. The Qatar Stakes, the King George Qatar Stakes, Night Raider 3-1, joint favourite with Rumstar, Jacajaro 5s, GM Jungle 8s, American Affair 10s, Asfura 10s, Spicy Mark 10s, 14s bar those. Ken, Night Raider, Rumstar, I know who he likes.
Yeah, we know that, yeah. Night Raider, look, everyone thought he wasn't a turf horse, and then this season he's won twice on turf. Now he's a turf horse. Good performances. Interesting to see how he gets on at Goodwood, but these sprinters, they all beat each other. There's nothing outstanding, which makes it a competitive race and a good race. I'm going to take on Night Raider. I'm not totally
Okay.
sold by him. I'm going to take a chance and go with JM Jungle. I think he's just coming back into form. I thought it was a good run at York last time, having run okay the time before. I think John Quinn's just priming him for this race. I think each way, I think he'll go. I think it's about 10s or something around there.
8-1 with Bet365.
Yeah, well, smallish each way, but yeah, I think he's a percentage call for me. I think he'll run well. He likes the track. I can't see what's not to be against him compared to look at the race. I mean, I never get these sprinters right. I mean, American Affair. All I'm going to say now, I can't have Asfalora. I think she's completely gone. She looked terrible last time. Didn't run a race. I cannot have her at all.
I'm with you. Yeah, she doesn't look like she's enjoying it at the moment. Well, I know you've always liked Night Raider, but not as much as you like Rumstar.
Yeah, but it's which Rumstar turns up. It was interesting. I spoke to Rob Hornby after he won last time at Sandown, and I was like, is there anything about Ascot that means that he doesn't run his race there? I know he's kind of drawn on the wrong side, and he said that it's the most infuriating horse because sometimes he turns up, sometimes he doesn't, and it kind of sums up all these sprinters. Yeah. Now, he finished second behind Night Raider in that Palace House at Newmarket. Both of them ran really well. Now, I think Night Raider is just a completely different horse this year since being gelded. He won that. He then won at Haydock under different tactics when he slightly missed the break, and again was drawn on the wrong side at Ascot. I'd forgive him that. The combination of drawn on the wrong side and the combination of Ascot not really being his track. Now, a lot of people will look back to his run in this last year. He could only finish 6th. He didn't win a single race last year. He just isn't the same horse as he has been since that gelding operation. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Night Raider, and he's just rapid. And actually, that 5 furlongs at Goodwood, you haven't got to restrain him. You can ride him like they used to ride Batash. Just go on then, off you go. And I think that'll probably see Night Raider to his best.
Yeah, similar. I'm no strong view, but I think Jacajaro would. If you're looking for a track that would suit a horse like him, to me it's Goodwood. So he's 5-1. That's the King George Qatar Stakes. But obviously, there's loads of good racing at Goodwood. There's also good racing at Galway. So I'm going to open the floor up, Ken, and you can have carte blanche to choose some other horses for us.
Going back to the Vintage Stakes, which looks a pretty decent renewal, I like Hefner. I like the way I saw him on debut. Step forward. I like the way he won at Newmarket. Interesting that Aiden's come here for the Vintage Stakes. I think he's a really good player, big player there. I'm also interested that Oak Tree Stakes, I like Scarlet of Life. Beg your pardon. Richmond Stakes, beg your pardon. I like Cut a Dash. He's missing the Vintage Stakes and going to that race. 6 furlongs, I think, is the right call for him. He ran well in the Coventry in 4th. That form is okay, but I mean, I think he's open to improvement. So I think Cut a Dash has got a good chance in the Richmond Stakes. And in a conditions race on the Friday, I'm going to take a chance with John Call, going up to 10 furlongs. It was a decent miler. He ran into some decent races. I know he hasn't really shown his best this year, but I think he'll run well going up in 10 furlongs now.
Okay, so Hafner, who runs tomorrow or Tuesday. 2-1 with Bet365 for that.
That's against Alfie David, who fit with blinkers.
Blinkers, yes.
Which is going to be interesting to see if that suits the wayward tendencies of Alfie David.
They've got to do something, I suppose, but whether it will cure it, I don't know.
You just slightly worry that he'll be too fired up in the early stages.
Yeah. And then when they come to that little kink in the straight, which way is he going to go? Okay, Cut a Dash and John Quill. Yeah. Steve?
That conditions race is really interesting because Hartem goes there, doesn't he, as well? Obviously, Wathnan racing at Goodwood. I was disappointed with him at Royal Ascot, though. Obviously, he'd won that race previously. There's just one for me, The 5:20 at Goodwood tomorrow being Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's the mile handicap for fillies and Song and Dance, who will be a double-figure price, hopefully by the time that comes around. Really caught my eye at Ascot in May, finished second behind Radiant Beauty and in front of Alabea, who finished third. Now, the form of that couldn't be working out any better. The winning Radiant Beauty won a listed race at Pontefract since, rated £5 higher. Alabea went on to win the Kensington Palace at Royal Ascot. On her next start is now rated £7 higher. Now, I was disappointed with Song and Dance last time at Newmarket. That was dropped back from a mile, back to 7 furlongs. Back up to a mile here, runs off the same mark as she ran at Ascot. Back up to a mile, I thought she was a big price, a double-figure price. So Song and Dance in the 5:20 at Goodwood.
Yeah, Song and Dance is 12 to 1.
Yeah.
One of my favourite horses of the season. Anastasia runs there, going for a 4-timer. That's the 92 favourite. I'm going to throw my hat into the conditions race as well, because, you know, my Goodwood specialist runs, or is likely to run in that.
Good old Nakib.
Nakib, who obviously had a tough task back at a mile last time, but back at Goodwood over 9 furlongs, I think he'll run all right.
I think a few of those connections would have looked and gone, oh, I know, I'm going to target that conditions race. And then they've looked at the entries
really
and gone, oh, no.
Yeah. I'll mention a couple of others. On Wednesday, Sahara King is, I don't know if he's been declared for that, but he's also, because I think he's also in the Gordon, but Ascot didn't work out for him whatsoever.
No.
He looked, I mean, he's been gelded since. And the run in the London Gold
I
Cup.
think he's going to go for the Gordon.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not a good race. You've seen the Gordon Stakes. It's a poor renewal.
But he's a speedy horse. I'd prefer him over Shorter, personally. I might be absolutely wrong, which is probably most likely. But if he runs, I don't know if he's declared or not at the moment. We're still trying to work that out. But if he runs on Wednesday, I'd be keen on him. If he runs in the Gordon, I'd be worried about the trip.
He's not declared for Wednesday.
So, okay,
Gordon
he runs in
is.
the Gordon. Okay. The Flan Sunna is potentially going for the Richmond against Qatar Dash, and that's one to look out for. In the Golden Mile on Friday, obviously, the 2 horses in there's one who ran really well at Ascot on the wrong side of the track. That's Scoville, who was much better. And I remember when he won at Newmarket, I think it was on his second start, he won by a country mile, and I think they thought at the time that he was going to be very, very good. He went off the boil, he's been gelded, he's had a couple of runs, and that was much better last time out. But the other horse I like is English Oak, who ran quite well at Hamilton last time out. He was given a nice prep run for this race, and I think he could run well in the Golden Mile. There's obviously Nakib, and I'll mention one horse in the Stewards Cup, which is a Ram. He's just a really... the race at Ascot didn't work out for him because he jumped slowly, then was rushed up behind regional and basically ran his race too soon. And I know that he's got a big task in the handicap of 109, but Summergan won it off 108 and Hoofit won it off 111. So it's not out of the question that a horse with his ability could go very close in the Stewards Cup on Saturday.
I think a strong pace which he gets in the Stewards Cup will suit him as well.
And he won't have to go hard.
No.
He can do his own thing early on, so in that sort of company. So those are a few others to throw into the mix. Okay, anything else? Nothing at Galway? No one's had a look at that? No idea.
I haven't, no.
No.
Too tough for me.
No idea about Galway.
Just follow Willie Mullins.
And stuff that's drawn 1, 2 or 3.
Didn't Dermot Well used to have a few winners as well?
He used to dominate that meeting,
So keep an eye on Dermot Well. Okay, that's a look at the racing to come. Before we get into our best bets of the weekend, though, just to let you know that Bet365 position payout offer is also available this week. Go to any horse race that offers the position payout market. Each selection will display a return for finishing first, second, third, fourth, and so on. Place your bet, and the higher your selection finishes, the higher your payout. T's and C's apply. Right, it's time for our best bets of the coming week. Ken Pitterson is with us and is going to go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Enchiladas, trained by Joseph O'Brien, who's having an unbelievable run of form in the last couple of weeks with winners. I like the way this horse won the King George V handicap with Ryan Moore on that day. He goes in the Gordon Stakes, which doesn't look a strong renewal this year, and I think he can take a step up into Grady Company that afternoon.
Okay, Enchiladas in the Gordon Stakes. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to be with Wardar in the Lily Langtree. Obviously, confirmations for that race are coming through as we speak. It was likely to have the likes of Santorini Star and Consent and Danielle in opposition, but she won the race last year as a 3-year-old. It was her only attempt at staying trips as well. She really caught my eye when second behind a Strange, beating only a length and a half in the rearranged Leicester Piggott Stakes over 1 mile and 3. I know it's a stiff finish there at Carlisle, but a step back up in trip will definitely suit her. The form of that's working out well. They pulled 2.5 lengths clear of Kodana, who went on to win a listed race at Pontefract since as well. A Strange obviously then went on to win the Pretty Polly over in Ireland. So the form is working out really well. I thought the return to Goodwood would suit. The return back to 1 mile and 6 would definitely suit Wardar. And Owen Burrows is a bit of a genius with these horses to progress through with age. So Wardar for me at around 5-1.
You learn from the best. And I'm going to go for a Ram in the Stewards Cup. I just hope he gets a decent enough draw. I know that people point out the fact that he's rated 109. It's a tough ask in the Stewards Cup to win off that mark. But Summergan won off 108, Hoofit won off 111. And this is a sort of race that will really suit him. He sort of bridges the gap between a top-end sprint handicapper and a pattern performer in sprint races. I can put a line through the Ascot run where he missed the kick, was rushed up to sit behind regional on the far side and then ran out of puff late on. He's normally very consistent. I can't think of a horse who's better suited to the race. I know the handicap is a question mark against him, but I think he'll run all right. He's 20-1 with Bet365 for the Stewards Cup. So Enchiladas in the Gordon for Ken, Wardar in the Lily Langtree for Steve, and a Ram in the Stewards Cup for me. Those are our 3 best bets of the week. And Steve, you're going to be at Goodwood a couple of days at least?
Yeah, I'm there on the Thursday. I'm then going back to Newmarket on the Friday and then back for Racing TV there on the Saturday at Goodwood. So yeah, can't wait.
Busy week. And Ken, you're there all week, are you?
Yeah, I'm there all week. The old man I am. I'll be there with my walking stick.
Tough
but
times,
I'll be there with you, Rishi. Looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
I'll help you. I'll help you along the way. We'll do a few horses in the paddock before for a few of the big ones. Before we close it out, always worth talking about cricket because I know Steve's. Are you back in the team now, aren't you?
Back in the team, yeah. Back in on Sunday as well. Big game on Sunday.
This coming Sunday?
Yeah.
Wow, who are you against? Why is it a big game?
Local rivals.
Yeah, bragging rights on.
Exactly.
Alpha State. You opening the batting?
I will be opening the batting. Yeah.
Okay.
We got beat yesterday. A player got 184 off 113 balls.
What?
So I don't think he should be playing Sunday cricket.
Okay. And what's the bowling attack like of this team?
Yeah, we'll be all right.
You can handle it, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I love it. And I know you wanted to ask a question about all-rounders in the...
Yeah, as you know, last week we lost one of the greatest all-round of all time. And I thought, who's your best all-rounder other than Sir Garfield Sobers?
I'll throw a left field one for you because I don't think many people would put this guy in the categories of great all-rounders, but he's my favourite. Carl Hooper, who I liked his spin bowling, was very effective. I think he was as good a slip fielder as we've ever had. Roger Harper would have been another one, talking about the West Indies, obviously. I think he was one of the best fielders we've ever had. And I would rather watch a Carl Hooper century almost above any other batsman, and that includes Brian Charles Lara, who's my favourite batsman. But Carl Hooper made the game look easy, even if it was his little tweaks, his slip fielding, and his batting. I'm aesthetics. I'm very shallow with a lot of things in my life, and I like things that look easy. And Carl Hooper made cricket look very easy.
And he didn't break sweat, did he?
I don't think he ever did. I think he always looked like he was in second gear. That's what I loved about him. But you?
I'd have to go with Jacques Callis. You've mentioned fielding there, and often fielding isn't talked about as part of being an all-rounder, but the amount of runs that Jacques Callis has scored batting at number 3 in a really good team, the number of wickets he's taken as first change bowler, and the number of catches that he's actually caught in the slips. I know Flintoff obviously was in the slips as well and could change a game with both bat and ball, but Jacques Callis I just thought was an incredible cricketer.
And what about you, Ken?
I'll go Richard Hadley.
Okay.
The reason I Richard Hadley is because I thought he just carried the team.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout that team, he batted, he bowled, but he just carried the whole of the New Zealand team with him. Yeah. And he was a great performer. And look, he's not your Ian Bothams or Rose Great, but he's one of the best all-rounders I've seen, just for his tenacity and wanting to win.
That 80s era of all-rounders, of Hadley, Botham, Imran Khan, Kapil Dev, just magnificent.
Yeah.
All-rounders, all of us, although we don't play it anymore, just Steve. And what a way to bring the show to a close. That is it for this episode of Racing Weekly. Just to let you know that we're taking a short break. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Our next show will be previewing the Ebor meeting at York. Steve Mellish will be here to do that. But thanks very much to Ken and Steve, and to you for watching this episode of Racing Weekly, brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. Don't forget to leave us the kind reviews on the various platforms, and we'll see you for the Ebor preview. Good luck at Goodwood, or indeed Galway if you're having a bet this week. But for now, from the Racing Weekly team, bye-bye.